to follow in the waterfall. That's the reason it used to take a lot of long time. So in the time span, what happened is this model was negated or not appreciated, and a lot of models have come and gone. And the new model that has emerged in the 2002 is Agile. 2002 is Agile. Agile. It got approved in the 2002, but technically it was in the market from 1996 only. Even in the Devops case also, guys. So Devops was there from 2007 only, but technically it has been approved 2006, but 2013 was technically accepted. Now, Agile follows a kind of a procedure called as iteration model. Iteration model. Now, and today, guys, remember, any successful in the past of 60 years of IT, any model which has been claimed as a successful, at least they survived in the market for 12 years. This is their average rate. As of now, Agile is the longest survival one with almost 16 years. Still, there we have almost 60% market still trading under Agile. Almost 65, 67% still we have Agile in the market. That is what transformation is happening now. So the thing is, always remember, failure SDLC model just survived 3 to 4 years only, but successful models always survive 12 years. That means if you are making a career, you need to find out whether the model has been hit or not. If it is hit, means career is stable for at least 10 years, 10, 12 years. Getting, guys? So DevOps is now currently hit model. So that's how you need to calculate. Now, if we go back to our Agile stuff, the thing is like Agile is to follow some kind of methodology called as Ashley, you're back. Got disconnected.
Disconnected. I'm back now. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. 1 second. Just give me a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what happened is the Agile, they used to follow some kind of model called as iteration model or iteration strategy, we can say. Now, in the Agile, when it came in 2002, everything seems to be great with this. But slowly, after 3 or 4 years of time, from way back from 2006, 5 or 6, some people started complaining about this model. We can say there are some concerns in this model. Concerns in this model. So those concerns have actually led to the movement of your DevOps actually. So let's see in detail. So now, guys, in iteration, what happens is they just go with, let's say you're trying to develop a product. So let's say you got a project. In this project, there may be, let's say there are 50 features, correct? Now in this, for example, I'm taking 50 features are there. Now what they do is in the iteration, they try to divide this 50 features into segmentation. Now this segmentation always depends on company strategy only. Some companies may just go into 3 or 4 stages, or some companies just implement two. And naming whatever the naming procedure, it's purely internal to them. We cannot say that they would use this only. Let's say some companies might say these are critical components, very critical. Okay, some might say in very important or important. So this kind of stuff. Now in this, what happens is they will list out the first module which has to be completed first, or first feature, or second, or a third, or a fourth. Likewise, they list out with 50. Okay. Now, the first feature, generally this kind of task is handled by an architect or a senior developer or a senior fellow. Okay, architect is responsible for identifying what should be a first model or first feature to be completed, and also he will just go ahead and align the skill sets, because once you hired in the project, based on your skill sets they will assign the particular feature for you. Let's say you are a DB guy, maybe if the fourth module is related to handling of DB, you may be working in the fourth feature. So this is how it goes in Agile. Now this kind of a information, or you can say that this kind of a skill set division or adopting a iteration model, and the thing is, the the guy the guy who is maintaining a project, for example, let's say architect, he also documents something called storytelling, or storytelling like how to do about, or how to approach, or how to complete a particular module, or you can say feature. He will document what needs to be done in a rough sketch. It's not like he would go ahead and do documentation or like coding complete ka chair. It's like handling, giving a guidance kind of stuff. So based on that, the technicians would proceed, and that's a big difference between approach of your older model waterfall and the agile. Now, what happened is, in the agile we have some phases called plan. Okay, some phases called plan. You have something called design. You have something called code. You have something called test. You have something called release. This is a new phase which has been brought up by the agile. Then something called deploy. Then they brought up something called monitor. These are the phases, guys. Now just observe what is the new thing here.
Release and monitor.
Yeah, release and monitor. Now these are the new phases which has been brought up by here. Now there is a big difference between waterfall, because deployment engineers in this model, in the agile, would start working if first feature is completed, but in the waterfall, until the entire product is completed. That's a big difference. So until the entire product is done with them, the deployer is not in picture, or you can say operations is not in picture. But in this model, the moment you're done with your first feature, you just go ahead and deploy it on your servers and start delivering your product. So if it is a product based company or service based company, anything it could be, but the point is like operations start working with your first iteration. You have something called sprints. I
Yes.
think Vinay knows. Aslesha, you are aware of sprint kind of methodology in Agile?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I am aware.
So in this, yeah. Now in this, what happens is, while handling iterations, they handle particular kind of a task in particular sprint sessions. So each sprint they divide into a task. Now the tasks are aligned to your product development, or you can say feature. Now once everything is done, first feature is completed, you just go with the deployment. Now second feature is completed, you just go with your deployment. The question is, let's say tester has approved saying that it is 100% is fine. Now release management just go ahead and verify everything here, and they take a backup of stuff, they decide the release deployment dates and everything. Now once it is 100, they also certify the product saying that it is 100%. Now once they start deploying in the ops team, it's like they see 95%. What is the flaw here? 5%, correct?
Mm.
You this is a point you need to catch. So tester, when he says 100% is okay, release management is also saying 100% is fine, but technically when the ops team is going for deployment, they see there is a drop of 5% fluctuation. Now this you can say incidents or bugs, whatever it could be. Now what happens is, now when the next sprint or next feature is ready, between that time they start fixing this 5% problem. Ops team, you
Mm.
getting the point? So between
Yeah.
first sprint, or you can say first feature or a second feature, the gap of 15 days or 20 days or 1 month. So this ops team keeps on fixing this 5%. Now let's say in the second iteration they said 100, but technically it was like 90. What is the flaw rate now? 10%.
Yes.
Now in the third iteration, it's like they said 100, it is like, let's say, 85. Now it is 15%.
Hmm.
Now pressure is building on which side? Let's say if there is some problem with your product, let's say customer or a client or your or end user, do you think they call up the developers or they call up the operations team?
They call up operations.
Operations team. So pressure system is getting built on the ops team actually,
Yeah.
correct? Because they have to fix this 5%. Next cyclone is ready with third one. They say 85, 15% fixing. Now the question is, in the agile, always 3 to 4% is manageable. That's a big thing. This is a percentage you're getting from an average of industry. In the IT, on an average, if it is agile model, always 3 to 4% of bugs are always expected. That means definitely know that 3 to 4% will be the bugs. They are happy with it, fixing it. But what if it is around 5 to 6? It's okay, manageable. But what if it is greater than 8?
Hmm.
It's like pressure, right?
Yeah.
Now, technically in the agile, if deployment rate is less than 92, generally in IT it is considered as failure.
Okay.
So that's what you have to understand. The point is anything less than 92% deployment rate is a failure. Though you can say developer saying that we're done with this feature, but technically from delivery point of view, it's a failure because we are suffering with 8% flaw. Always 3 or 4% is acceptable. Now in the stuff is here, let's say for example, we'll go with a 5% flaw. Now the trouble here is this is a problem for still in the agile. That's the reason we have the Devops. If 5% flaw, whatever 5% flaw you have, upon doing RCA, they came to know that 2% is a product problem only. You know what is RCA, guys? RCA, root cause analysis, correct?
Yes.
So in the root cause analysis under problem management, they came to an understanding that 2%, it's nothing to do because once you let's say 5% of tickets are there, technically ops team just go ahead and provide, maybe software is not installed properly or client computer may not be configured, so they just go ahead and fix it. But you left out with some kind of tickets, let's say 2%, where it's nothing to do with the client side. It's our product problem only. That means you need to figure out or fix the issues with your product because it's not working for few people. Now in that case, what's when these guys ops team, since they lack coding skills, okay, they cannot fix the problem. They start approach this developer leads saying that this 2% is the fix you need to produce. That means for this you need to come up with a code fix. Now what the developer side technology manager would give an answer is, it's already been tested 100% or release management approved. I don't think this is our problem. It's ops side, maybe your server's problem. This is a current situation in the market from the agile side. Getting, guys?
Vinay is an
So
experienced problem manager, so he should know that
yeah,
well.
yeah, correct. So the point is, it's like it is sitting in air. Somebody is not taking responsibility. So they don't accept because they don't accept so easily because it takes almost like 1 week of time. You have to show evidence that these many percentage of tickets are there. This is our product problem. You have to convince the other side, other team leads saying that you have to get this fixed. Correct? So this is what is happening in the industry in the agile. So because of this, what is end of the day, it is taking value of the company going down, and it is also taking time, it is killing the time, and also it's a loss of client actually. It's a loss of your business. Correct? You keep on
Yeah.
2%. Now, this is creating a kind of a conflict. Remember, DevOps definition is what it is saying is DevOps definition is it's all about bridging the gap between Dev team and Ops team. This is the biggest definition given by DevOps. So that means there is a gap created, correct? You just refer
Hmm.
online or any internet, any kind of documentation, whether it is AWS DevOps or Microsoft Azure, they just say this word only. It's all about closing the gap between Dev and Ops. That means the point is there is a gap created. This gap is nothing but your conflict of interest only. These are the
Hmm.
conflicts. First number one, this 2% of junk, whatever you took example, nobody takes responsibility.
Okay.
Nobody. That's a big concern. End of the day, it happens after 1 week or 10 days. But that 5 days or 10 days, it's always ops team taking a pressure. Do you accept? Because client keeps
Yes.
on calling this guy only. That's the first point. Second point, very, very interesting. Agile from past 10 years, if they observe, on the day of deployment, there is a high rate of absenteeism. In most of the product based companies, they see this trend. On the day of deployment, let's say tomorrow we have a third feature to be deployed. So somebody cooks up a story saying that I can't come tomorrow because they know that tomorrow is not 8 hour shift, it is 12 hours, 15 hours, or 14 hours. This is
Okay.
one problem in Agile because you cannot leave the floor, leaving the issues, correct? Because it
Yeah.
hits our SLA, service line, lot of stuff. So they will not allow you to leave the floor until unless the issues are fixed. This is a kind of a pressure system. So currently in Agile, what is happening is a kind of a pressure system is developed on ops team. Now to overcome this, what is happening is ops team started taking in a different turn like this. Let's say fifth feature. They're working on fifth feature. By the time fifth feature is getting ready, ops team will be ready with cooking up stories saying that fifth feature, if you want to deploy, we have to upgrade servers. They cook up stories. Getting so enough resources not there. The point is here, ops team started like something called not to cooperate the project now, not to be in cooperative mode. It's like non-cooperation moment. Getting so this has happened from the ops team. So in the process of SDLC, technically you should have two people coordinating, that is plus dev plus ops. What happened is from this picture, ops went outside. Getting
Hmm.
went out of sync. Ops team is the guys who went out of sync. So somebody understood this because something is going wrong in Agile. So this was observed by few people, and they started